Hey crew, it's Sophie Sargent from 96.5 Live Free Country, and I had the chance to catch up with Lily Belknap Honigberg. Wow, say that name 10 times fast. She is a violin, strings, and fiddle player located in Nashville and LA. She kind of splits her time. She plays with some of our favorite country stars like Dasha and Shaboozey. She was even featured in a bar song, and I had the opportunity to sit down with her, chat about her music career, and what it's been like to work with such incredible country stars. So here she is right now. Enjoy the interview. So in terms of like working with different artists, I know you've worked with so many people across different genres. What do you love in particular about country and what brought you into the country world? Was it by accident or was it on purpose?
It was totally by accident. Yeah, totally by accident that I found the country world. February of 2024, my friend Oliver recommended me as a fiddle player to go play on this song with a producer in LA. And I showed up, and I'm a fiddle player, like that can mean a lot of things. I'm an improviser and I'm a fiddle player. But my roots are in Irish fiddle music. I've spent a bunch of time in Ireland and I learned from like local players in Ireland how to play the fiddle. But that call that I got for that session was for Shaboozey's album and for a bar song, Tipsy. And I mean, no one knew what that song was going to do, but I found that the fiddle, people call them chops, that I had were what was needed for the song. And then about a month later, I got the call to play the CMT Awards in Austin with Dasha. And again, it was the same kind of thing where what I can do on the fiddle works especially well with them because I also play a lot of pop music. I live in LA, so the pop country kind of vibe, which is a lot of what Dasha's music is now, fits my style really well. And I've definitely since, I've been on the Dasha gig for over a year now. And I've met some amazing fiddle players and just like country music players. And like even my boyfriend is an amazing guitar player who plays a lot of country music and lives in Nashville. So I've like learned a lot from those people and done a lot of like listening and transcribing now of like country music. So I think my style has changed within the country sound, but definitely was not like I want to join a country touring gig. Like it all just happened and I'm so grateful it happened the way that it did.
I think what's really cool about your experience is that, you're able to kind of think of things like on the fly and write things on the fly. Has that ever been, or has there ever been a moment where that's helped you and you've used that like with writing music or it's created this like unexpected success in a moment?
I think I'm at a point now where I'm not afraid to try something that maybe doesn't sound the best because over the years I've learned that you really need to like dig for the gold sometimes. I think when I first started doing sessions where I was completely like improvising and writing parts on the spot, I was like, oh my God, I hope I don't play like the wrong thing. But now I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try this thing. It could sound really good or really bad. And sometimes I don't even say that. I just try it. And then I'm like, nope, let's try something else.
I like that you mentioned how you didn't really know what was going to happen with a bar song. You didn't know it was going to be an overnight success, sort of. At least that's what it seems like to the consumer. Of course, there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. So, what was that process like from, being a part of those building blocks of the songs, whether it's with something with Dasha or Shaboozey, to just seeing it completely blow up?
It's been amazing. I mean, I think when I heard the demo for Tipsy, I was like, oh wow, this song is, people are gonna love this song. And with Dasha, it's been so special because I started with her really close to the beginning of when she blew up, and things have changed so much in the last year for her. And I think it's a pretty rare experience to join with an artist as they're rising. Um, so we really went through a lot together, especially at the beginning, like learning and I was with her while she was figuring out kind of like what it means to be a star, and she's so creative and so, she's really built. I tell her this all the time. She's like built for this lifestyle. So, yeah, it's been cool. I mean, I think honestly when you start playing the numbers game, it can get weird. Like for me, I know that that's like the metric that we all have to use, and like obviously if people aren't listening to your music, like you're not getting people at shows and you're not getting a lot of streams or whatever. But the last year has taught me so many things, and one of those things is to try as hard as you can when you're playing music at this level to focus on the individual moments when you're making the music and what that can mean to you and how you can be creative and like feel the energy. And like Dasha's band, I love my bandmates so much, and we have such a special time on stage, and I try to really lock into that as opposed to like we are playing for X number of people tonight and like this song has this number of streams, because like Tipsy has, I don't know, billions of streams now, and that's, to me, that's like unfathomable. Like that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it's awesome and it's so crazy, but it's also like I think back to the experience of actually like being in the room and playing the fiddle part and like working with the producers to make Tipsy what it is and contributing like the small role that I had on the song. And yeah, sorry, that was a really long answer.
That was a great answer. It made me think of another question because when I was looking at your social media, it seems like, again, from the outside perspective looking in, that the recording process is so relaxed. You were in like a room with one computer and it was you and the fiddle, but it's like what actually goes into that recording process behind the scenes?
It really is just you and a computer. And that's, yeah, it's crazy. It doesn't feel, it's also the same, like, when you're at an arena show and you look at the stage, you're like, oh my God, like that's the biggest stage ever. Or like a stadium. You're just like, oh my God, I cannot imagine what it feels like to be up there. And then you're up there and you're like, yeah, like we're up here, we're on the stage. And it's like, it's same with recording. I think for me, it doesn't matter if I'm recording for like the biggest artist on earth or like a smaller indie artist. Like, I feel like I am always giving the same amount. And like, it's so cool to get lost in that process and be like, how can I elevate this song with strings? And I love exploring like, sometimes less is more. That's like one of the most beautiful concepts to me, especially with strings, like it just, sometimes you just need to like feel the strings. You don't even need to hear them, if that makes sense. But to answer your question, like, yeah, I mean, Tipsy, like I went to the producer's house and it was awesome. And like I recorded the Tipsy part in probably like 20 minutes. And that's the song, which is just like so funny and crazy.
That is funny because I always think of the movies where they're like in the big recording studios and there's so much going on, but it's like the reality of it is it's just it's a few people in a room just making art, which is like I think truly the fun of it. And I like that you mentioned talking about stadiums. Do you have a moment in particular that was a pinch me moment in your career, whether it was on stage playing a stadium or an award show? Talk to me about that.
The first pinch me moment that comes to mind is playing the Opry, the Grand Old Opry in Nashville. Been fortunate enough to play it 3 times now with Dasha, and the most recent time we played last month. She can bring a couple members of her band, so she has brought in the past me and our guitar player Grady, and then we play with the house band. So the Opry has like a house band that is there and can learn the songs, and I believe it's a 14-piece band, and they're so incredible. They're just like unreal musicians. They bring this new life to the songs, and we usually only do 2 or 3 songs when we're there because there's like a lot of people playing on the bill. But the Opry is a really interesting place to play because the capacity is around 4,000, but it's really different from like a huge space like an arena or something, because when you're on an arena stage, like there are 20,000 people in the audience sometimes, but you're so like the lights and like the fog and just like phones and everything, so you're really just up there with your band. But the Opry, you can see everybody in the audience, and they are like, they want to hear country music. They're like locked in. So I've had some really special moments on stage at the Opry, like as an individual player and like thinking about my journey as a player, and also with Dasha and some of the songs. Like she's brought some new songs to that stage that we've never played with the full band before. It was like the first time we'd ever played it, and that's a really, and like of course the history. So that's really a pinch me moment that comes to mind. And then we're actually playing on Jimmy Fallon this week, so I'm sure that will be another pinch me moment that has not been experienced yet.
So I've never been to the Opry. It's obviously on my bucket list because of the history, like you mentioned. But Jimmy Fallon, you watch that on YouTube or wherever you consume Jimmy Fallon, TikTok, and you think it's like this huge space. But I've been in the studio and you get there and it's like a very intimate experience. So I'm definitely curious to see what you think of it after performing there, because you're really just in a studio. Yeah, but kind of switching gears a little bit, I saw that Dasha's touring. Will you be touring with her at all this summer?
Yes, we got the dates locked. We're going to Europe in a few weeks. We're about to do a few festivals after Fallon. We're doing CMA Fest again in Nashville first week of June. And then we're hopping back on the Kane Brown tour in the fall, in Ireland and Scotland and a few other places. And we're doing a headline tour in Canada in the fall as well. And then we're back at Jingle Ball in December. Yeah.
I know you said you went to school in Boston, which is cool. So kind of talk to me about New England. What do you like about it?
New England Conservatory doesn't really have a campus. It's like two buildings. So we're kind of like in the middle of Northeastern's campus. And yeah, I had an interesting time there. I mean, I love, like, as cliche as it sounds, like I love fall in New England.
Speaking of things kind of like coming up, I know you mentioned like the next couple of weeks and even to the end of the year, but where can we find you on social media and stuff like that to kind of stay up to date with what you're up to?
I have an Instagram and it's called Lily Belknap, and my middle name is Belknap actually, and it's spelled like Belknap. It's like a family name. My mom has it as her middle name, my grandma. But my last name is Honigberg actually. But it's been funny because a lot of people, like, when they want me on their records, they'll like find me on Instagram, and then I'll get credited on the album as Lily Belknap, and I'll have to be like, my last name's actually not Belknap.
Nope, sorry.
And yeah, I'll be on tour with Dash, and then there's a really cool new album coming out, I believe on August 22nd. It's Ava Max's new album, and there's a track actually called Violin, and I recorded the demo and like didn't know what was going to happen with it, and the producer texted me recently and was like, hey, that's like, it's coming out, like it's on her new album, so I'm really stoked about that.
Very exciting. Well, congratulations. And I mean, if you make it to New England on tour, I'll probably see you there. So
Yeah.
good luck on Fallon this week. You probably don't need it, but it should be so much fun. So thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you talking with me.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for your time, Lily. It was a whole lot of fun. Now, if you want to see more of Lily, you can find her on Instagram at Lily Belknap. And we also posted some videos on our social media pages from the interview, 96.5 Live Free Country. Thanks for hanging with us. As always, Sophie Sargent signing off.